Well, I mean, honestly, this is just one of them things like you said earlier, the hype. If you were to do this with Cartoon Network, it'd be the same thing. Oh my gosh, Cartoon Network! I can I can run hands with Dexter and put him against Ed. Oh man, this is gonna be dope. This is gonna be the best game ever. It's like, and really, what I feel like they should have done was this would have really probably broke the internet. I mean, Nick All Stars kind of did on Twitter for a few days for the week that it was announced. Cartoon Network versus Nickelodeon. Like you could have made it like some MVC type stuff. Like,
Man,
bruh,
you want to talk about licensing nightmare?
Man, what?
like, hey man, Jimmy versus Dexter, man. Who got the biggest brain? Who got the highest IQ, man? Um, but with Nick All Stars, I don't know, man. I saw signs. The first thing to me, it looks cool. This will be dope, something fun to play. The Smash style was like the most sensible to emulate for this type of game if you're going to make it. But there were some signs that kind of was like, this might just be something cool. I don't know if this is gonna come in and like we gonna start having Nick All Stars at Evo or something. Like I don't know if it's gonna go that far. But like just certain things, like they didn't have certain characters shown at first, and I'm just like, at this point, there should be no characters like hidden. Like that's one thing. Like just give us all the characters. Like don't be like blacking people out. Like we know the characters. It's not like this is some new IP or something that we don't know. Like we know the characters. Just give us a good amount of the characters that we know and love. Like Aang wasn't showed at first, and I'm like, we know he's gonna be in the game. Why are you trying to make it a secret? Just put him out there. Like that. That's gonna give it hype. Like he's one of the few actual fighters out of Nick. Like so like why not just put him up there? Um, we got SpongeBob. Yeah, he got a spatula. He's cool, but it's like I don't know, man. And seeing the gameplay, it looks like there's so many Smash clones at this point. Like the style of Smash is just like when you see it, you know it. Like, it looks the same. There's like the combo structure seems to work the same. You attack them, you follow them, you dodge, all that type of stuff. Looks cool. But there's games I've seen on Steam. One game in particular called Brawlout, which is actually a really good Smash type game. But I don't think anybody played it because just if it ain't Smash, people usually ain't gonna play it. And I hate to say it, but it's like I don't want it to fail, but I feel like this is just gonna be PlayStation All Stars 2. Again, it looked cool. It's like cool to see this come out, but it's like when a game like this comes out, it's a fighting game, especially you got to see the gameplay, you got to get your hands on it, right? Everybody was hyped about PlayStation All Stars. They thought like this gonna be the next big thing, right? And we ain't seen PlayStation All Stars 2 and probably never will.
That game felt like
Um,
trash though.
It, well, but the bad thing about it was just the fact that it was compared to Smash off the rip. Like, it really didn't even get a chance to like be its own thing. And of course, it makes
Yeah.
sense because it's that type of game. But
Yeah,
they did. They did some decisions that didn't make sense. Like the whole killing with supers was kind of. I didn't really. That was dumb. It's like,
Yeah, that
um,
wasn't a good decision.
yeah, it left a lot of things like certain things. So I feel like the game had potential. I feel like a PlayStation All Stars game could be really good, and I feel like we should a game like that. It makes a lot of sense. It's a fun concept. Even something like maybe now Capcom might do something like this. We might get another Capcom All Stars. That'll be they probably won't do a Smash style, but I feel like they could be successful with that. They weren't really successful the first time they tried something like that, and that was Capcom Fighting Evolution, which was kind of an All Stars type game. But
Yeah.
we'll just have to see,
Wouldn't you
man.
consider like Power Stone more so like their Smash
Yeah,
game, quote unquote?
yeah.
Yeah.
Power Stone, yeah. Now that's a game I think that could come out and really make big waves if it did it right. Power Stone,
Yeah.
but we haven't seen one of those like in forever. And
Yeah.
at this point, will we ever see another Power Stone? But
man.
Nick All Stars, it might prove us wrong. It might come out and it might beat Smash when it comes out. It might be like, oh, I'm Smash. I'm trying to run these infinites with SpongeBob. I'm trying to do this up tilt with Texture Man. I'm not trying to play Mario anymore. I want to play Michelangelo. But that's gonna be that's gonna be really hard if it did accomplish that. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a run of the mill game. It should be about $30 to $40. Comes out, give us a decent handful of characters. Like there should be a good amount of people in the roster because like one thing that would kind of make me iffy too is like giving us a bunch of DLC in a game where it's like, come on now, like we know these characters. Like I said earlier, we know these characters. Just give them to us, let us play, and see how the game is. But I don't know, man. It might be hot for a week, or we might see it constantly in LBC. Who knows, man? I do want to try it though. I'm not saying I don't want to play it. I definitely want to play SpongeBob in a Smash fighting game, but I don't know, man. I think they're just using the nostalgia to get people in.
KIT already said that they might think about running it because KIT is in late October.
Yeah.
So they think they might have they said they might think they might have a side tournament for it. But I think if they was gonna do that thing with like releasing all the characters at one time, they should have waited closer to the release date to do it to make it more of an impulsive buy. Like, oh, they got all these characters in it. Like it's gonna be out in a month. Go ahead and buy it then. So, but I'm sorry, E, I'm taking up your shine, bro.
Oh, yo, were you done, Mr. Game and Lift?
Yeah, I'm done, man.
Okay, so in that case, listen, guys, I got to tell you,
Here come the clip.
I'm sorry, man. I I had this in mind when I tried to be optimistic. I really want to be optimistic about the game, right? I really did. I tried to but I got to tell you, man. Is the FGC really that desperate that one of the big things that comes out is like Nintendo All Star Brawl? I mean, we have all these games coming out, and we're really like, oh my God, Nintendo All Star Brawl! Holy smokes! I can't. Nah, man. I'm sorry, bro. I love Nickelodeon. Don't get me wrong, but immediately when a game like this comes out, I'm just kind of like, really, Nintendo? Immediately, I think of what was it? Like one of those games that they used to.
Are you
give
saying
away
Nintendo on purpose? I just want to make sure.
Oh, did I say Nintendo? I'm
yeah,
sorry.
you said
I meant
you said it like
Nickelodeon.
3 times.
He said Nintendo, then he said Nickelodeon. Then he said,
I didn't know if you were doing that intentionally or not.
No, I was not doing that intentionally, but it might be a Freudian slip though. But yeah, like whenever Nickelodeon made this game, right? And it reminded me of like when the Burger King thing came out, like when they have like the Burger King bumper cars or whatever, and I'm just like, this is like a free game that you give away with a Happy Meal, with like a kid's meal or something. I'm just like, dude, what is this? Like what we were saying earlier, when has Nickelodeon ever made a game that you've been like, oh man, I gotta go out and play that? That is like, oh, like when has that ever happened? Has that ever happened where you were just like, yo, man, that's looking pretty fire. I'm gonna have to go to GameStop right now. When's the last time you put down $5 at GameStop to buy a Nickelodeon game?
When's the last time you went to GameStop?
that's the better question. The only time I can maybe say that was when they made the core game that I thought might have been good because I think it was made by Platinum, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But even that was kind of like it was average.
Yeah.
So
yeah, man, it's like I don't know, man. I just want to say, it's like, dude, when did we get so? When did we get so desperate for fighting games that we were willing to accept a game like that would come with a Happy Meal, man? I don't know. It's
maybe because they said it came with rollback, man. Maybe that's all we needed at this time.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty bad, man. Like, we're setting the bar really low now, man. I'm sorry. Like, we're saying like, yo, man, for a game to be acceptable, all it has to do is have rollback. That's it. Oh, rollback. Like, man, come on, dude. I don't know. Like, the concept is cool. Not to say the concept isn't cool. I want something like this to be good, just like anybody else does. But realistically speaking, Nickelodeon. The moment I heard Nickelodeon, I'm like, forget it. Like, you don't even need to get me to the All Star Brawl. Like, forget about the All Star Brawl. When you said Nickelodeon, I'm like, man, nope. I'm sorry.
Was your childhood okay? Was your childhood okay? Did all the TVs in your house not work?
Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm asking you, like, when was the last time? Like I said, how many Nickelodeon games have you played? How many Nickelodeon games do you have in your library right now? Tell me how many you got. Go ahead. Tell me, how many do you have in your library right now?
Coming up this October, they'll make it 1.
So 0 right now.
That's the bottom line, because Amazing said so. No, but so my take on it is, you could tell this game was made on a cookie cutter budget, like, or is being made on a cookie cutter budget. It just is what it is. It was announced like in July, and we're getting it in October, which you would think that's a great thing. It's like, oh, it's a surprise. This game was just announced and we're getting it like months later. That's amazing. But that's kind of a sign also that this game was probably something that was just handed to the developers, and it's like, if you can pull this off, you can, but if you can't, then, it's no skin off our backs, kind of thing. And so I say it's obviously it's made on cookie cutter budget because, one thing, the look of the game, it doesn't look bad, but at the same time, it's not like the best looking game, which, I mean, as we talked last week about KOF 15, that's not like the best looking game ever, but it by no means looks bad. I think this Nick All Stars game, it looks along the lines of how a lot of the other Nickelodeon games have been made. Like the most of the SpongeBob games kind of look similar to that. I can't talk about the sales for those games. You might actually be surprised. Those games might sell very well among kids or whoever buys them. I don't know the sales date on that. But for Nick All Stars, it may just be a game that the FGC just won't end up caring about. And that's fine. I mean, there's plenty of fighting games that have come out and the FGC is just kind of like whatever about it. I'm very curious to see how like the casual market picks it up. Like just casual fans who have nothing to do with the FGC, just people who like Nicktoons and like the idea of Nicktoons being in a Smash style game. And I think that's really what it is that got people hyped for it initially. It's not that it's like fake hype or anything. It's that the idea of classic Nickelodeon cartoons coming together and fighting each other in a Smash style game, that concept alone, that's amazing. I mean, the potential is, the ceiling for the potential for that sort of concept is just, the ceiling is like 27 floors or so. It's the fact that I can have Cat Dog, SpongeBob, Powdered Toast Man, Ren and Stimpy, all these classic Nick characters in a game facing off against each other. That's mind-blowing, especially when a lot of those characters, they haven't been relevant for years, like decades, like Powdered Toast Man. Whoever talked about Powdered Toast Man within like the past 10 years? So the fact that they were willing to even put somebody like that in this game shows that, maybe if it does well enough, they can start pulling some other classic characters into it. Now, I will admit, with the roster as it is right now, I'm interested. I'll have to see how it is when the game comes out, but there are some characters that are missing right now that I think they could definitely stand to add. I would love it if they add Jenny from My Life as a Teenage Robot. Timmy Turner should definitely be in the game. He might be announced later on. Who knows? Supposedly based on the leak, the Avatar characters are in the game, which that's no surprise. Avatar is huge. You'd be stupid to not put those characters like Korra and Aang in the game. But yeah, there's a bunch of other classic Nicktoons that they could easily put into it, and they're probably just saving them from DLC just because, like I said, this is a cookie cutter game, and depending on how well it does, they might add more to it. Like E, I'm very disappointed if they decide to not have any voice acting in it, but that kind of goes back to the budget thing. And this is just me coming from like a voice acting perspective. All those actors for those characters, I know they'd have to pay like union or like the SAG rates for them, and they probably cannot afford that at all based on the budget for the game. So they just figured, hey, we just won't have any voice acting because you'd have to get people like Tara Strong. You have to get people like Tara Strong in the game, and like none of the people are coming to my mind, but you all know, like all these Tom Kenny, yeah, exactly. You have to get like Tom Kenny and all these people who voice these legendary characters like over the years, and so they probably just didn't think it was worth it. Who knows? Maybe if this game does enough,
Billy West.
Yeah, Billy West. Yeah. Yeah, there's so many legendary voice actors that they would have to get. It's not like they'd have to pay like millions or something for somebody, but they'd have to pay certain rates based on the actors union for those actors, and they probably just cannot do it for the budget for this game. It reminds me a lot of Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. I think when that game came out, it didn't have any voice acting, or if it had voice acting, it was like minimal at best, like grunts, and that was kind of it. So I think this game is going to be along those lines where, depending on how it's received and how well it does, they'll start to maybe add more to it. And if it's like Power Rangers where they continue to add more to it and give people the stuff that they're asking for, who knows? They might have a low-key hit on their hands, but it's yet to be determined. I think this is a game where, just like I said, the FGC probably isn't really going to buy into it, and it is what it is. But if the casual market eats it up, like if kids see this, or if just people who love classic Nicktoons see it and they pick it up, I mean, that's a win for the developers because that's a sale. So, hey, if the FGC doesn't get behind the game, I mean, that might not be skin off the developers, nose. Just is what it is.
Yeah.
Not every fighting game has to appeal. Just because it's a fighting game doesn't necessarily mean it has to appeal to the FGC. I know that's a concept for some people. It's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. But the majority of people who buy these games, they are casuals. They're not like the high-level competitors who are going out here doing like 50-hit combos in games and just like wrecking tournaments. The base that really matters for a lot of these games and the sales that matters, they're going to come from the casual crowd. That's just, hey, it is what it is.